Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another update. In today's update, we'll discuss the severe weather that's happening out in the Central Plains and going ahead to Midwest, and the very dry weather we're having here in Florida, as our high pressure system is pretty much staying with us all week with very warm temperatures and absolutely no rain in sight. Now, let's begin. So first, we'll look at our severe weather system going on out here in the Midwest, as we have a very strong low pressure system that's pretty much tracking its way up toward the northeast as a very strong jet down here just south and east of it, producing that very strong wind shear and upper level divergence for these storms to blossom. Now we've had some reports of tornadoes overnight, not as many as we would have thought, but today is looking like the better chance for tornadoes as we have a very strong heating and it'll be more of a daytime than a nocturnal threat, as we already had a tornado this morning in Kansas. Now, this very strong low will advance toward the northeast throughout the day today, bringing that severe weather threat north with it, northeast, more up here toward Iowa and Indiana, not Indiana, sorry about that, Illinois and Missouri. And this is actually where exactly that enhanced risk is located, as that low tracks toward more that area with more destabilization of better surface heating, and that low level jet will move through, allowing more shear and more moisture return up in the area. As our tornado risk is an enhanced risk with a 10% hatch showing very well defined around that area, as the low will track out here, allowing very strong winds to come in along with it, with more moisture, and also a cold front too will be right here, allowing the warm front here, or the warm sector, right into that hatched area. The hail threat is also a big concern too, as usually with these kind of setups, as we're very strong, very cold temperatures above, and we can see that very clearly if I go look. If you look at the low dynamics, here is the 850 heights of the winds. You can clearly see lots of wind, not too high up from your heads down in the south, as we have winds showing up to 50, 60 knots. So it's plenty full of shear to work with for these storms once they get going. And there already is actually storms out there going, and they'll continue to do so. And we can also look at the thermodynamics up there, as right now it's warm up there, but as that cold core low advances in, it'll cool the atmosphere above, allowing more destabilization to occur. And if we look right now, if we look at what's going on, there are storms right now firing. Not as strong right now, as they are kind of in a little weak spot right now. But as they continue to move up, they'll start to re-intensify as they get into that very strongly sheared environment, into that enhanced risk. As you can see, a very strong line of storms with discrete supercells in them was the best chance for you to see your tornadoes, and very strong hail. Now these guys right here, I'll point them out, could be your tornado producers, while these are more of your hail producers. And down here could be more of your wind producers, as linear storms are usually more of a wind threat. But these isolated storms right here are definitely will show some very strong rotation with them later in the day. If we allow it to go, you can see all the activity will shift over here, as we do have a slight risk over here, which I'll talk about later. Now there's also a very strong dry line. As you can see, we have dew points in the 40s, and if you move a couple miles over here, they jump up to 63. That is a very strong dry line. You can see there's also a little moisture nose up here. Now, as we go in time, you can see that dry line advances, but also weakens as a cold front takes over it. But it's still prevalent, as we have 67 dews into the 47. So 20 degree difference of a dew point is still dry line criteria. You can see dry line advances toward the east, but it's also not as strong as it was back here, which makes sense as usually dry lines are the strongest out here as we have very dry mountainous air out here and then moist air over here. And as this advances more, out here is much more moist than it is out here. So then our dry line does weaken, but there is a cold front that will be taking over the dry line. But if you want to see more discrete supercells, dry lines are better than cold fronts, as cold fronts make more of a linear type system. But if we do look at back into our convection, let's see, okay, so back here, looking back into today's threat, heading into the afternoon hours into our enhanced risk, do a sounding for the area. Oh, too far out. It's weird. Huh. Back to this. I don't know what's going on. The website's been kind of moving around a lot, but we will see some very strong storms, and that can be very clearly here for an enhanced risk into Illinois, Missouri, and Iowa. In day two, all the activity shifts toward the east with a slight risk into Ohio, Indiana, and lower Michigan area, as we do have more cells that will develop over there. Less of a threat, but still there, more isolated in nature, as that low tracks over with the cold front attached to it. And then day three, very conditional, widespread, slight risk, as still need to thin things out here, as it could be more of a looking like more of a wind and hail threat, but could be some isolated tornadoes always. Now heading back to the big picture, we'll talk about Florida, as a lot of viewers down there. So as we all know, it's been very sunny, dry weather lately, and it'll continue to do so, but there is some more cloud cover streaming in, and we can see that very clearly if I go into the satellite. You can see there is lots of cirrus clouds coming in, mostly into the northern areas of Florida, and that is making our skies a little silky as I'm up here in Daytona Beach, so I can definitely see the skies are a little silky from the cirrus clouds, and they'll continue to stream in from the north. As we do down south, we do have some marine stratocumulus coming in, as the waters are very much warmer and the winds are more of a due east, while up here is more of a little more of a southeasterly component. Overall, it'll be very warm, especially out in here, staying into the upper 80s, even some 90s there, while along the coast will stay relatively in the low 80s, maybe some mid 80s down here as the Gulf Stream is over there. So a high pressure is in control for us throughout the week into even early in the weekend, as there is a chance for some rain, it looks like, as we head into this weekend. And we do have a little bit of moisture and an old frontal boundary that will move through the area. And we can see that clearly in our surface analysis fronts. You can see we do have high pressure will be with us through at least Friday. And if you notice something, right here is a kind of like a surface trop type feature. And that tells me is, looks like our sea breeze will kind of, since we have light winds, both sea breezes might collide right in here in the middle of Florida, and that could initiate some shower and storm development as moisture will slowly return throughout the week as we get our daily afternoon storms like in the summertime. And then, of course, looks like into Monday morning, old frontal boundary with a little low pressure kind of dips in. That's still far out. But the main story for us is stay very dry, warm, with a breezy south wind. as high pressure will stick with us through pretty much all week into at least Friday. And if any surfers are out there, the wave heights are looking a little sloppy as the seas are 2 to 3 feet all week, as our winds are still from the southeast. And usually a southeast wind isn't the best for surfing, but if you do miss that warmer waters, southeast winds do help to push the Gulf Stream closer and allow our waters to warm up, especially if we're going to be heating things up this week into the low to mid 80s. So our waters, shelf waters, should definitely warm up through the week, as it's been pretty chilly up here by Ponce Inlet. Been the upper 60s, low 70s, but it has been warming up. Now it's in the 70, 72 range, which sounds cold, but it's definitely a change from 65 degrees. So surf doesn't look that great, but if you have, it's good. It's good beginner waves, as our waves would be pretty small this week, just a little on the sloppy side. And that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for watching, and remember, if you're up in the Missouri, Illinois area up there, severe storms are coming your way. Just be careful, be weather aware, and all the activity will shift toward Ohio, Indiana area tomorrow, as the threat will be less, but they'll be still there. So be weather aware. Keep your phone on. Make sure any weather alerts popping up, heat warnings, and my folks down in Florida, it'll stay nice and dry. Expect sunny but a little bit cloudier conditions as our moisture above does kind of return. Overall, looks very great week. Hot, so remember, if you're going to stay outside, wear sunscreen, drink plenty of water. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.